Why, hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing fine, fantabulous, and well. I have a very special guest with us today in Scott Joseph, the Emperor of Baldur's Gate 3. Uh,
Hello.
Thank you for joining. I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
It's like I mentioned in the the preview uh, while we were talking in the background, we have conquered everything to be here together. Back and forth emails, anniversaries, sickness, but it's finally unfolded and come together. So I appreciate the time that you are allocating for us tonight.
I'm going to award you a patience achievement award as well, because you've been exceptionally patient with me. So thank you.
I try, and it is at the end of the day all a community effort in the end. So it is absolutely
Absolutely.
worth it. So um, we've given the introduction. We know who you are. But for those that um, don't know, just for confirmation, you are a BA Honors degree in Performing Arts. Is that correct?
Yes, I did an acting and performing arts degree course. Did the National Youth Music Theatre as well. And so yeah, just and Amdram stuff. All that kind of stuff, and the usual route into the business. Um, I think I got bitten by people saying that I couldn't do it.
Hmm.
Just not in a nasty way, just like because at the time I wasn't doing any acting. I wasn't even, all of my core subjects were nowhere near to acting or anything like that. I mean, the nearest was art. But they're just. I think we were in a group and they're just like, oh, who could be an actor in this room? And go around. And it got around to me and they just like, no. And suddenly went, I could be an actor. I mean, if I wanted to be an actor, I could be an actor. And then I went home and I was thinking, well, why are you so offended by that? Why are you so cross that it hasn't even crossed your mind that you want to be an actor? And maybe I should try. And so that's what I did. Yeah,
Or
whimsical, but yeah, it's led me to where I am now. So there we go.
for those that don't know, the Ons part of that is shortened for honors, honorary, um, which
Yeah, BA honors degree. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's yeah, just called it honors. And you get graded as usual for degrees and stuff. But
it's
yeah.
far more advanced and far more a prestigious
Oh,
achievement. So that is
thank you.
definitely something that I wanted to note as soon as possible, right in the intro, just for those that
Well,
don't
I mean,
know.
the great thing about the course that I did was it actually let you go out and get jobs and be marked as part of the course that you were on. So
Oh, nice.
that's how I eventually got my equity pass. Equity is the union that you join as an actor. So I got my equity card while I was doing the performing arts degree course. So yeah, it worked out quite well.
It seems, I have mentioned previously to other talent from Baldur's Gate that Larian decided to gather and group a bunch of performing arts and theater folks and combine them all into one game. And it seems like with all the backgrounds that everyone has come from, that kind of holds true. There's different.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I'm not sure how much of it was deliberate on Larion's part in terms of theatre background and stuff. I think having a really clear vision, which they needed to have to work on such an enormous scale, um, meant that they had very clear ideas of for the characters and the performances that they wanted to come out of for those characters. So when we audition, they pick up on the performance vibes that we're giving, and obviously it was lent towards a more theatrical or a dramatic style of performance.
The I think the writers need a lot more credit, obviously, because all
Absolutely.
the all the writing for all the characters are very intricate. They're very, very well in depth, and they're so expansive. And it almost seems like there's no character that's a side character because of the levels of depth that is in there. Every character is a main character, and when you include choices, choices that matter in a game like this, you can take whatever character you want and make them a main character, and they have all the levels and layers to make them the main character of your story, which is, um, my God, that's amazing to be able to have that, and it really speaks volumes as to how massive the game actually is. I think Larian
Well,
came
yeah.
out and said that it's longer than, or it has more words than the entire like Lord of the Rings series, and it has more
Wow.
cutscenes than the entirety of Game of Thrones. Just cutscenes, by the way,
Wow.
than the entirety of Game of Thrones, which is
That's some good facts there. I mean,
yeah.
you've just named some pretty meaty kind of fantasy stories there. So we're in good company. Wow, that's great. I hadn't heard that. But I mean,
I
when they employ, I mean, 256 actors and every single character is acted, that tells you the kind of level that they were after and the truth that they wanted to get across.
it's it really shows a lot when um motion capture, because I think that's, it's motion capture has been used for quite a while in film and games, but
Yeah.
it's starting to um show just how far the effort levels are willing to go when you include motion captures in your game, and being able to capture emotion, facial reactions, rather than a voice on top of a template. It really goes a lot more for how the character is being able to showcase and broadcast
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah.
I mean, I know we did. So when it's voice and mocap, they call it performance capture.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we did facial capture in this. I certainly didn't. But so that would be then when it's handed over to the animation. But yeah, I mean, when you put it all together, it's I think, excuse me, I think it's when you have an idea, a vision, and you use the technology to realize the vision. That's the most earnest that you can be is how can we achieve this? Okay, let's use the tools available to us to make this as good as we possibly can.
And then, it started in 2019, I believe, 2018, around that time period. You have many recording sessions, you have years of voice lines that are recorded, and that kind of goes into the blood, sweat, and tears into the project. And um, it seemed that there was a lot of dedication from every person, because um, it seems like a lot of times there's not recordings together; it's all individual recordings. Is that
Yes.
true? So
Yeah, principally. I mean, you might be lucky in if the scene that you're doing or the branch of the scene that you're doing has been voiced by the other actors. They can sometimes play in those lines, so you can at least react. But typically, you're in a room in a volume, they call it the mocap space, by yourself. So you really are reliant massively on the movement and the voice directors to help put you in the moment,
mm,
and then you go from there as the character.
from everyone that I've spoken with previously, it seemed like all the coaches seemed to be very good at what they did. The voice, the movement coaches, um, and I believe there was also romance coaches. I think that's what they were called. I don't know their actual title, but
Intimacy coach.
yeah,
Yeah, there'd be like intimacy coaches and stuff. So for some of the scenes, I didn't need that for many of mine. Um, I think those scenes, my character were hand animated because I can't float. Uh, I've tried. I
You've
have tried. It
tried.
just doesn't work. Yeah, just try stepping off a ladder and stuff, but it's just too far to fall, and it doesn't work. But yeah, so but yeah, and that's true. You want to create a safe space to play in, to create for the actors, and you want them to feel comfortable and supported in what they're doing. And Larian and Pitstop both went above and beyond to do that. Certainly for me, it was an absolute pleasure from start to finish. Hard work, but an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure.
It really shows based on the community response from everybody and just how it progressed over time. Would you say that maybe did you know previously just like the scale of how big this game was going to be, or how it was going to be received, or previous Baldur's Gates? No,
No, no, I
no.
mean, no, for a while I didn't even know it was, Baldur's Gate. So, because typically when you do game projects, and as I'm sure chat knows, and lots of actors have talked about, you sign NDAs, so you can't talk about it. But also the project has a project code name, and so you just know it by that, and it's if you've got a bigger part in it, you can usually glean from the script or the characters. You know, we want to know what it is, so we go away and okay. It could be that one. And then you get excited. Oh my God, what if it's that one? So yeah, you do your homework, you try to find out, and then if you've been in a few times, I'm terribly English, so I'm like, no, don't ask, just. And then eventually I'll pluck up the courage. So is this? And and see how they. It might be. Some of them, sometimes they can't. They genuinely can't tell you, and you just have to kind of go with it. And other times they just, yeah. But I was on it for suitably long enough that eventually I found out. Yeah. Oh wow, it is that. Okay. So I knew it was just by the sheer length of time it had been going on already before I came on board. I knew it must have been it must be a big project.
Mm,
That doesn't necessarily guarantee it's going to be a great project.
mm,
You know, that's the precariousness of the gaming industry. Stuff that can go right to completion and then just not see the light of day. So you constantly want to do your best, achieve your best, and hope for the best. But I mean, there's no way in your right mind you think it would nearly crash Steam on the opening day or weekend. No, you just don't entertain that. You just think, oh, I just hope it lands well. Hope it does all right.
mm.
But a couple of people in the crew and stuff were like, I, I think it'll do good. But this has been phenomenal, and the community that's been born out of it almost eclipses the game really. Just it's such a wealth of talent and warmth and support that I just love being a part of that as well as the game.
Um, did you have um inspirations for the Emperor? Where did you
So
kind of draw the Emperor from?
yeah, so I think with game characters, it can vary as to how much backstory and stuff you get. Sometimes it's not much at all, and that could be a deliberate thing. It's not necessarily that the game company's being lax. They want to see what you bring to the table, um, and then go from there. And then other times you can get a full bio and pictures and stuff. I do like a good characterization picture because that helps you, well, it helps me place the voice physically. If they're a big character, um, you might kind of, the characters I've played in the past that have been physically big, it affects how you form the words and where you place the sounds in your mouth and stuff like that. But for the Emperor, I mean, I wasn't given a great deal of detail, and I just knew they were called the Companion when I
Mm.
auditioned. Um, but I was more worried about actually making the Companion different to Marcus,
Yeah, you
because I
started off
play
as Marcus, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
True
So
Soul
I did
Marcus.
Marcus.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Flaming Fist.
yeah, 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 yeah.
um,
I remember that.
so, and he's very physical, very gestures, very human.
Yeah.
Looks around, head nods, and all that kind of stuff. So physically, I could differentiate them because the companion, or the turned out to be the emperor,
Mm.
is physically completely different. And
Yeah.
not just I'm talking about the tentacles or anything like that, because I didn't know what they looked like then. But just at that kind, I automatically gave centered the companion, the emperor, still a
Mm.
kind of a stillness, and it's not necessarily a kind of chilled out stillness, but just a very like it's deliberate, but also a bit guarded.
Hmm.
And I just wanted to place a bit of that because I felt there was something high stakes
Yeah.
when I got the script, because I was actually really happy to get the scenes to audition with, because I thought, ooh, I like these scenes. There's
Mm.
enough to hang something on here. I can really find something here. Um, but what made me anxious was the voice, because I'd already played Marcus. It was deep, gruff RP, and this was RP is received pronunciation. It's pretty much how I'm speaking to you now. It used to be slightly posher RP, but it's pretty much how I speak, is a kind of soft RP. And I was like, oh, when it goes deep, there's not a great deal I can. I don't want these two characters to sound the same, and I certainly don't want gamers to go, hang on a second, that's the same. What? Come
Yeah.
on. So I was really anxious about that. I didn't know at the time that they were going to do what they did, to make the Emperor's voice sound telepathic, it sound as though it's coming into your head. And once I did know that in the sessions, it kind of relaxed me a bit, and enabled me to really fill the character out a bit more, because up to that point, I was really trying to push the voice somewhere that wasn't necessarily that natural to me. But once I knew that, I was like, okay, right, okay, I get this. And so I guess there's, in terms of inspiration, it's all the kind of characters of that sort that I've ever seen on TV and film.
Mm.
I let influence me a little bit. I'm very much a magpie when it comes to performance. Oh, I like that. I'll try and copy that. Not in a necessarily verbatim for a part, but I'll just, if I can deconstruct what I liked about it, I can incorporate elements into the next performance. So I think there's a bit of that, but also I wanted the character to be liked, to be good,
Mm.
um, which sounds weird, but I felt if I could do that with the guarded element, and I'm not just saying I came up with all of this because I discussed it with the voice director and the movement director and with Larry, and to pitch it, to find it. And in that first mocap session, that's pretty much what you're doing, is finding that character that you can then go through. Because I didn't know how big the character was. After the first session, I was like, oh, good. So will there be some more? His faces through the window are like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, excellent.
Do you remember the scene that you auditioned with? Because he said it was.
Yeah, I think it was um when the Emperor's talking about um things that I think it was in the astral prism.
Hmm.
Actually, the scene in the astral prison when he's talking about Rascal and the disguises that he's had,
Hmm.
and basically, all of these things. And now I'm asking you to trust me.
So a very
Um,
integral part of the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I really felt, oh, this is a nice scene. I like this. I really hope I get this part, but I'm not going to get this part because I played Marcus. They're not going to give it to me. Oh, I get a call from the agent. Yeah, they want you to play the companion. And then I always get this moment of elation that lasts for about 10 seconds after I get given a part. And then it's, I call him the kind of the shadow on my shoulder, the imposter syndrome figure
Yeah.
on my shoulder goes,
Yeah.
you can't do this. You can't do this.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh my God, what if I can't do it? But I bat them away and just because as actors, you just gotta. I watched Michael Keaton talking about
Mm.
auditioning, and he was saying he got to the point where he was really getting bogged down with auditions. Like, oh, I've got to get this part. I really want to get this part, and so he told himself, you know what, the audition is the job. I'm going to work today. I've got the job. The job is the audition. So just enjoy the audition. So and then he started really enjoying auditions because it
Mm.
became like work. And I thought that's a really good attitude to have.
Yeah.
So I don't always I'm not always I don't always manage to do it, but that's what I try to do is to enjoy the audition process and find something, and at least if nothing else, leave nothing on the table, leave nothing behind. Put something on the table to say you might want to see this,
Yeah.
and if it's right, then great. Um, so yeah,
I think imposter syndrome really affects pretty much every artist of every field, of every degree.
yeah,
So being able to find and have strategies for that is probably very important, especially for the mindset going forward, the mental during the time. So um,
yeah, and as I get older, you kind of get the feeling of, yeah, what's that Dr. Pepper line? What's the worst that can happen?
hmm,
And sometimes the world shows you what the worst that can happen is, and you're like, oh my God, this is so bad.
why did I ask?
But yeah, why did I ask? But fortunately, it doesn't happen too often. You just got to put yourself out there, basically, because if you don't, you're left with what ifs, and that's not good.
Hmm. Um, was this your first motion capture experience?
No, no,
Oh.
I did quite a bit of motion capture early on when the industry was just starting up. Um, I worked with Lionhead Studios,
Oh wow.
um, doing some test stuff, and they were looking at different types of motion capture back then. So I worked with them on some test stuff. I did some kind of short animation test stuff and bits and bobs here and there that I very rarely found out what the projects were. It was still very much kind of kept under wraps.
Hmm.
And controlled character stuff, which was really physical. Um, but yeah, so it wasn't my first outing in the volume, but it certainly was my biggest. And I hadn't done a lot of mocap for a while. I just my career moved in a different direction. So I was really grateful to experience it again.
Hmm.
And it's great. It is great fun, but it is an art form in itself.
Yeah.
It's something. If you've done a lot of acting or if you've done a lot of voice work and stuff, it can be very tricky to remember to, well, particularly in this style of motion capture, return to the A pose, return to your base pose. Because if you don't do that, they can't stitch it all together. So, and it was particularly frustrating for me with the Emperor because the Emperor's movements I remember talking with the movement and voice director, and them saying, yeah, and Larry, and we want that. Their movements like they're flowing through water, so it's very slow, it's very deliberate, it's very placed. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And so physically, the Emperor as a character is miles away from Marcus, who's very, just gesticulating, looking around, head movements. The Emperor doesn't really turn his head too much. If he does, it's a whole shoulder movement, because and a lot of the time they didn't want, kind of, when you're talking, any kind of head movement, it's because it's telepathic. They wanted to give that stillness, like it's all happening in the mind. But then when if I start a line and I have to do a gesture, I have to remember, because it's so slow, to get back to my A pose, my base pose, before the end of the line. Otherwise, it's like, end of the line is here. Oh my God, this is taking ages. Yeah. So, it took some getting used to, but I was very pleased whenever we got some degree of vulnerability or emotion to wrestle with the Emperor, because it it fleshed out the character a bit more, but it just gives you a little bit more to play with and a little bit more to do, rather than just seeming to be this this detached character that may or may not be good or bad, or something in between.
And that just kind of floats back to the writers, because whichever direction that you choose will either expand the Emperor, or it will have the Emperor more closed off. And that just
As is
goes
the
with
case
other
with a lot of the
characters.
characters. Yeah, as is the case with a lot of the characters, as you said, you can make it. The decisions are yours to make, and it's your adventure. There's no right or wrong adventure. It's yours to do. So, and that's the richness of the game.
When you were talking about the Emperor's movements,
Yeah.
to kind of shift, what about the Emperor's voice? I wanted to talk a little bit about the added sound effects for the Emperor's voice, because it sounded like there were some echoes that were in there. It sounded like there was a reverb that was in there to make it more like bass, more what am I trying to say here? Maybe more supernatural in a way, alien.
I think that was it, because we did discuss the voice, and and I felt a kind of soft, deep tone is the way to go, because it automatically then lends itself to being inside your head. And although it can be threatening, it can also be kind of designed to break some barriers down, almost. Like, it can be threatening, or it can actually be disarming. Excuse me. Got a bit of what's it called? Allergies. And so we talked a bit about that, but then they said, "Oh, don't worry, we are going to make it sound a little bit more alien, because of the telepathy, because of the fact that you're an Illithid. So we want it to sound. I don't know exactly what they did with it, because they didn't let me know. But when I heard it back, I was like, "Ooh, that sounds cool."
Yeah.
So yeah, and I did have a little go myself recently, when I did I showed off some of the amazing fan art that artists have been so generous to let me put on my Streamily shop. And I did a little video, and I thought, I'll start it with a little Emperor thing, but I wasn't on screen. I just had a black screen, and just had the Emperor speaking, and it seemed to work quite well. And then I interrupted it and came on as me. But I can't remember when I was doing it. I was kind of like hitting buttons and trying different stuff and thinking, that works. Yeah, that works. So I can't remember what I put on it, but yeah, there's a bit of everything, I think.
If For those who are watching at home, if you haven't already, regarding the fan art and Streamily, feel free to refer to the very top of the chat bar. You could see the Twitter page where there's been a lot of shares of fan art, and also there is also the Streamily link as well. If you are interested in that, it will be there for the entirety of the stream, so don't have to make a decision now if you want to hang out and enjoy the time that we have. But it is all right there for you. Um, with the um, with the voice that was we were just talking about,
Yeah.
jumping into the lines. Were there any lines that were improvised or something that you pitched to that got in?
Not really. I mean, the problem with improving lines, and particularly with my character, is they're quite kind of how can I say this? They you can I can either be integral to the plot, or not. And so if I start improvising lines, the way the script works is it's like a tree.
Mm,
So you have a scene, well, the main trunk of the tree, and then you branch off into scenes, but each scene then splits off depending on the choices that the gamers make or the adventurer makes. So if I change a bit of dialogue, it might have a ripple effect
mm,
for other branches. So sometimes we'll come in to a session and they'll say, um, "Okay, yeah, so we're doing this script," and I'll be like, "Didn't we do that?" Yeah, but this is if they chose not to side with such and such in that scene. But oh, okay,
mm,
so yeah, so it's similar lines, but maybe you're a little bit pissed off with them. So the lines might also almost be identical, but there's a bit of attitude there or something like that. So yeah, when that happens, you're kind of like, yeah, I don't really think I should maybe tweak the lines. But also, and you said it earlier on, the writing is so good. They've worked so hard
yeah.
to craft these lines that there's no need, certainly for me, to improv. I didn't really feel the need because they were so well written. So yeah.
I mentioned this in my last interview with the Hag, Rena. Um, a boy or a bit of a from a panel that Neil said about sort of this topic. He said something along the lines of, like, yeah, it's me behind the character, and there might be some aspects of me in the character, but primarily
Yeah,
that's their story. You know,
yeah,
that's Astarian's story, that's the Emperor's story, that's their story, and I'm just here to tell it. Essentially,
yeah,
it's what it
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And one of a team breathing life into this character.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah, you couldn't do it on your own. And like I said, the script was so well written. I, I didn't. In fact, sadly, I didn't get to meet the script writer until after we'd finished. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, there's some wonderful lines in there.
Definitely need a round of applause for the writers for every character, because yeah, there's a lot of depth and there's a lot of layers, and
Yeah.
like you mentioned, the tree, it just branches off into so many different directions, and it's not just one
And that's
trunk.
when
And
that's when you kind of, the directors, you're just like in a session, and they are like your encyclopedia. You'll be like, hang on a sec. So what's happening here? Well, because it's not all done, sequentially. It's not. It's thrown out of order. You might start with your death scene, or at the end of one branch, and then leap back to the start of it, or something like that. It all depends. It's thrown off. So you very much are reliant on the director saying, "Right, let me paint you the scene. Here we go," and
mm,
they were across it all.
mm,
And that's just knowing how big it is and just to be across it. But they are fanatics in and of themselves. You could tell that they were so invested in this game, in telling the story, as you said, that it really helps enthuse you as a performer.
Hmm. With lines as the topic, do you have one that always jumps out at you, your most remembered line, or even requested line? Is
I don't really. I mean, I think Neil has said that. I don't really have favorite lines because there are different lines that I like for different reasons.
mm,
But I get greedy. I just want all the lines.
why
I like that
not?
one. I like that one. Ooh, that one's good. So
They're all
yeah,
yours. Go for it.
yeah, they're all mine. They're all mine. Yeah.
They're
So
precious.
yeah, yes. Oh, that's on point at the moment because I'm watching Rings of Power, and I know that's chat's probably going to explode now. Don't watch the Rings of Power, or I love the Rings of Power. But yeah, I'm also, to appease anyone who doesn't like Rings of Power, I'm also showing my kids. I've got 4 kids. I'm showing the 3 eldest the Lord of the Rings trilogies.
Oh,
So
perfect.
tomorrow we are going to watch Return of the King, and I can't wait. Oh my god, I absolutely love those films.
Okay, but what about The
Yeah.
Hobbit? 'Cause I love The
Well,
Hobbit.
you do.
I love The
You love it,
Hobbit. Oh yeah.
do you?
Oh yeah.
Well, I hated them when I watched them first.
Really?
I think I wished they'd been made before The Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't have got made. I totally get why Lord of the Rings was made first, but I just wish I'd seen Hobbit and then Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But the more I watch the Hobbit films, the more I like them. So
Have you read the
I don't.
books?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Okay.
not for ages. I've made a decision because I don't get to read too much. I've got some books here that have queued up to read, but
Hmm.
I made a decision. I think Andy Serkis did an audio book of Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
so I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that and listen to him because he's got a fantastic voice, and I just can't imagine it being better delivered than by someone like Andy Serkis. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna get that audio book and listen to that.
I always make it a habit to read the Hobbit around Christmas time because that's when they decided to all release was oh yeah, December of such and such year, and it's just
That's right.
it seems like
Yeah,
a winter tradition for
yeah.
myself. Yeah.
Well, my wife and I, when we were going out, we went to see all the Lord of the Rings films at an IMAX in London,
Mhm.
from 7 at night till 7 in the morning,
Oh, wow.
and that was lovely. It was fantastic. Any excuse I can I can find to venture back into Middle Earth is just, yeah, wonderful.
Gotta watch all the extended cuts and
Oh yeah, I've
yeah,
got
yeah,
those. Yeah, I've seen those. Wondered whether to show my kids the extended, but 4 hours for a kid
is
is,
hard.
especially in today's kind of attention span thing.
Yeah.
I think they could do it, but I wanted to ease them into it. So they're watching the cinema cuts, and then I'll save the director's cuts for
Get them hooked first.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
um, to kind of float back to the game model, um,
Yeah,
when seeing the game model, can you go and tell us how it affected your performance?
the game model in terms of
The Emperor's um, face, like
what they look like.
stature, yeah.
I was very lucky because, and I was very lucky in that when you do the motion capture, you get in the space, you have to do all the movements to calibrate you within the volume,
Hmm.
and that involved we had gloves, power gloves, terribly powerful,
The
but
Nintendo Power
when
Gloves.
yeah. So when you do that, all the fingers moved on your avatar. It was fantastic. It's just like, this is so cool. And so you have on screen in front of you like a Power Ranger. It looks a little bit like a Power Ranger.
Mm.
Um, but after about, I think on my second session, they said, "Oh, we've got a Mind Flayer avatar. Do you want to use that?" And I was like, "Hell yes!" And so from then on, I was able to use the Mind Flayer, the Illithid avatar for
Mm.
me, and that was fantastic because it just enabled me to get the physicality right bang on and see what it looked like. And
Mm.
also, the other good thing is the avatar had tentacles, so I had to cheat my chin up because obviously if I had my chin like this, the tentacles would go into my chest.
Mm.
So you have to kind of cheat that to help with the animation, the
Mm.
animators further down the line. So that really helped. And also when you get an idea of the size of the Mind Flayer and the size of their chest,
Yeah.
that really dictated how the natural stance of them was. So invariably, I they were like, yeah, we need to find some way of the breathing is important, you know, because they've got this huge chest. So I kind of had this resting breath thing, like in this huge chest, just with the shoulders going up and down slowly.
Mm.
And then I suddenly thought, oh God, now you've done that, you've now got to do that across the entirety of the motion capture. So I thought that was a swell thing to do. Well done, Scott. But you know, it kind of worked. I just had to make sure the movement directors kept me honest, and I didn't end up looking like I was flapping, um, which would be bad, and did happen a couple of times. The movement director would be like, "Scott, you're flapping." Ah, sorry. Yeah, so it really helped seeing the model, seeing the and the only downside was the tentacles were erect, so they were like, and that was the cause of many a snigger in fandom when yeah, people found out that the tentacles were erect. That caused a bit of a stir.
Kind of a blow up from there.
Yeah, yeah. Erecticles, I think, were spawned. So there we go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Andrew Wincott, Raphael, he was mentioning when we talked that posture and whether you're standing or sitting and just the way that you're moving changes your voice and how it's delivered and
Yes.
presented. And that just sounds like what you're kind of speaking on right there in depth is, you know, you have to shape your body to what you're seeing in front of you and you kind of roll with there because that's how it's going to change your voice. George Taylor, Roland said that his character was very, he quoted tall, so his voice had to be pitched all the way up in the top of the throat to
Yeah.
kind of go from there. So it sounds like there's been many different versions of um, the way that you stand, sit, change your body. It really affects how your voice is going to
Yeah.
project. And no,
Yeah,
it's
it does. I
awesome
mean,
to hear.
physicality is everything,
Yeah.
and how you contort the you know the chambers that your voice resonates in. So you can have it coming from the chest, the throat, the head, the nose, and that all dictates what the voice sounds like. So and that's, as actors, you play with that to find a character. Um, so yeah, and you know, invariably when I think at the end of a few of the Marcus sessions, I they go, "Oh, we've got some other characters. Would you mind having a go at that?" No, of course not. What have you got? And you know, the chef and a fisherman and stuff like that, and some really just nice little scenettes that you get to act. But then, so they say, you know, oh, this chef's kind of, or you know, the fisherman's kind of down on the luck, so you maybe drop your shoulders a bit or something like that, and you know, you come up with the character physically, and then the voice kind of is born out of that physicality.
Kind of forms and follows from there. kind of wants
Yeah,
to
and
naturally go to there.
invariably, yeah, and invariably, if you're a gamer and you're listening to just a character that's been voice-overed, not motion captured, chances are the actor behind it is being as physical as the mic will allow, because in order to get that physicality in your voice, sometimes, an excellent director like Josh is a director, a senior director at Pit Stop. We were working on another game, Expeditions Rome, and we were trying to get this line. It was just like, I don't know. I know what, Scott. Pretend when you're delivering your line that you're drawing your sword. And he said, if you want to pretend to draw a sword, do that. And actually, the act of physically pretending to draw a sword affected the space that, and the projection, that it actually delivered the line the way that we were after. And that was an important kind of note in my head. I was like, okay, maybe if you're trying to find the truth behind a line, giving it some kind of physicality that works in the scene, in the moment that you're in, can really help you discover that truth. And that's what gamers want. They want to be immersed in a truthful performance.
Mm,
And that's what, us as
believable
actors
and
want as well.
convincing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, I talked with someone a while ago named Jim Ferronda. He voices Claptrap in the Borderlands franchise. He shared
Fantastic.
a video of him in the studio when he played um, a role on an anime called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and he was a slime. And he posted a video of him in the studio session of him grabbing his cheeks, flailing them while talking, and that's how he made his slime effects. And he had a couple of other performers chat underneath there, and they were like, "I did not know I could manipulate my face and talk at the same time," and that sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, I remember, I did a lot of, English language teaching work, which is called ELT, and, invariably you play a host of different characters, but clarity is important because you're teaching English language, but this one moment when the director said, "Okay, so this character, is a dog falling out of a plane with a parachute. So you're kind of skydiving for a bit, and then the parachute happens. So yeah." I was like, okay, a dog skydiving, delivering lines. How am I going to do this? And so I kind of, for a bit of it, had my tongue flapping outside my mouth like a dog would, because when dogs stick their heads out of car windows, they're
Yeah, their tongue
like that,
sticks out, and yeah,
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 yeah, exactly. So I did a bit of that, and and maybe a bit of facial, kind of grabbing and stuff. And that's you got to do what you got to do to make it sound right. It's essentially Foley with your face, I guess. Just call me
um,
Foley face.
um, you were talking about like stature and like size, chest, and shoulders. Um, is it right to say that you were a space marine recently?
Ha!
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yes.
was very, very lucky to be in Space Marines 2,
Yeah.
which just dropped, and I've got to try and get my hands on a copy because I think if you need some therapeutic just splatter, that might be a good game to play.
A lot of
um,
armor that's on the characters, I imagine, and
yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
just when the directors tell you about Space Marine. I mean, I used to collect Warhammer 40,000 when I was a kid and
Oh,
paint them,
nice.
Space Marines and orcs and stuff. And yeah, I was just like, I can't believe I'm playing a Space Marine. This is so cool. I geeked out a little bit, but then I was like, again, that imposter on my shoulders, like, you can't do this, you can't do. And so yeah, because you get in a session and they're like, right, so Space Marines, they're almost like demigods. They're huge, these huge, bigger than life. The armor is just immense. So but they've also got to be grounded and the voice is believable and stuff like that. But have they got? I think they've got 2 hearts or something. Just this unbelievably gargantuan figure of war. And you've got to try and replicate that in your voice while being grounded and believable and gritty and stuff like that. So you take all that and just run with it. But it was just amazing to get. I mean, I got a couple of scenes and I was happy.
I recently picked up a job in a retro and also modern video game shop. I ship out video games and figures to pretty much everybody, pretty much everywhere, and
Nice.
Space Marine 2 does not stay on the shelves very long. As soon as it's there, it is gone. It got so popular to the point where people are starting to order and collect old Warhammer 40k, just everything. And I was very surprised to see Space Hulk Ascension, I think it was called. I was surprised to see people wanting that, but it got popular to the point where everything Warhammer, plush, figures, video games, it's all being sold out very, very quickly, just because of the astronomical success of what Space Marine 2 is right now. And if anybody ever gets an opportunity, absolutely go for it. It is a blast. I've seen
definitely.
a little bit. I've played a little bit. I get to test out consoles and clean them and test video games out all day. So I've had the opportunity to play a little bit. Yeah, I get to bust open old NES and SNES and fix them up, change disk drives.
Did you meet Varellis then? Have you met him yet?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Excellent. Well, I won't say what happens for those that haven't seen it, but yeah, no, it was a nice little scene, a nice few little scenes, and just to be a little part of that world was, it was good. I think Andrew's in that game as well.
I believe so. I would have to double check, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he is.
You two, banger after banger, back to back. That is,
Yeah, it doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen. The start of this year was, you come off the back of being lucky enough to be on a big game. You're like, I have made it. Work, come to me. I am here. And then, it's like tumbleweed. Just like, right. So yeah, better get auditioning again. And you're literally back to ground one, ground floor, back auditioning, and that's as it should be. You know that when you enter the profession, you're very, very fortunate if you are in a position where the work comes to you offered. Typically you still have to audition for stuff, and that's right. There's a lot of money going into these projects and a lot of time and effort, so you have to be right for it. And so get busy auditioning.
It's very telling to be able to throw that on the resume, though. That's I would probably, I'm not in the industry, but I would assume that's at the very least a foot in the door to be saying Baldur's Gate 3. Oh shit. Like that is awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's
hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. And I mean, I'm just honored whenever I get a part in any kind of franchise or big or just in any game, to be honest, because it's fun being able to create worlds and be a part of that process. I mean, I did play a part in another Warhammer game. It was Warhammer Total War.
Yep.
That one. Yeah, Scrag the Slaughterer.
Yes.
And that's a very different character to anything that I played before. And a lot of the characters of that ilk were typically done by thrash metal guys, because they can literally go in and thrash their voices and not ruin them. But yeah, it's
that's a crazy art form right there.
And when the trick to it is to relax. If any tension puts in your throat, you're ruining you stand a chance of ruining your voice.
It's all
If
diaphragm, right?
and relaxing vocal cords, yeah, it all comes from there, and you need to relax all of this and relax your throat because essentially, and I've said this before, but like babies, and we've got a 1-year-old at the moment. They can scream and
Oh yeah.
scream and scream and never lose their voice.
Mm-hmm.
And their faces are going red, but it's all they don't know how to misuse their voice.
Yeah.
So it's all natural. They just know I'm not happy.
Explode, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't communicate any other way other than to explode or fill my diaper. I was going to say diaper, no, nappy with poo. So yeah, and I just thought, okay, I need to bring that into this part because otherwise I'm going to do some serious damage to my voice. So when I auditioned for that role, I made sure, and that was actually a live audition online. So I did it in this booth, but I was live with the director. I guess because they want to see that you can do the voice and sustain it. And I just thought I've got to be able to sustain this character, so I better find a way of doing that. And fortunately, I did. And it was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
I know I said this before we went live, but very, very sweet setup. Love the booth that
Thank
you
you.
have, and you could just tell that there a lot of work went into it, and it really draws.
Yeah.
It seems like it would almost grant inspiration, and it's able to draw out. Every ounce of talent is able to draw it out and be able to express it forward. So I think
Excuse me.
the
Yeah.
studio definitely helps with that, but you add
It
that with the
was.
talent, and oh my god.
It was a case of how serious am I about doing this? Um, and at the time, I started to get a few commercials, and some some of them were wanting to be done remotely from a studio,
Mhm.
and you can get away sometimes with, like, I started out with my kit being trailed down a hallway with the microphone being in my wardrobe with a duvet slung over because your wardrobe's full of clothes so the sound doesn't bounce. Um, and I'd voice in there. But the better the mic you get, the less you can get away with because they're sensitive to everything. And I'd had a couple of moments where, oh, sorry, there's a helicopter going over. And typically clients are fine, but if you're on a commercial audition and stuff like a commercial job, they don't want, in fact, clients now do not want anything else in the background. And rightly so. If they're paying money, good money, they need a good sound. So I thought, right, I need to invest. So I put all my savings into Cedar Cuts and More, is the name of the company, and they were just absolutely phenomenal in what they did. They came in. It's in my double garage. It's a studio inside the garage, so it hasn't affected the structure of the garage, but it's a pro studio that's not perpendicular. So, I mean, the amount of thought that's gone into it is just mind-boggling. But it's all natural wood, and I love it. Yeah,
Big shout out to the company that engineered and brought this studio
yeah,
to life. Big shout out to
they were
them.
just phenomenal, and so supportive. Yeah, and it's not what they do primarily.
Oh
They
wow,
don't design studios, but the guy just knows he's like a master carpenter and he just knows his stuff. So
can't get
yeah,
better than
I was
that.
very fortunate. Yeah.
When you were talking about commercials, um, to kind of dive a little bit further, what about things that are like video games, TV shows, commercials? What is the audition experience like, and how do they differ between the three? Would you say?
Okay. um, I think, I mean, it does depend on what you're going for in terms of the material. Because if it's like, if it's typically for a character, um, for a game, they obviously want to see you embody the voice. So it's not just a voice you can do. It's you have to become the character. So that if you can do that, it tells the director, "Oh, we can have some fun with this." You know, we've got lots of script to throw at you, but also we can mold it and make it malleable and push it into different areas. And as an actor, a performer, you can facilitate that for with the director. You can play and take it into different areas. So that, and I think also if it's possible to find a shift in the script that you're given to audition for, like an emotional shift or something like that, it shows that you're capable to go from one type of emotion to another in a script, which really can really help. So there's that. With commercials, I mean, it can be commercial auditions can be the hardest to nail
Oh
because
wow.
I don't there's a show called Toast, about a voice artist, and he goes into a VO for a commercial, and it's just one word, and they give like loads of. Can you make it like this, but sound it like? And it's just one word. You know what I mean? So I think it was just yeah. I can't remember now. I'm so bad at remembering, but yeah, you've got to. It's like you can't second guess yourself. You've probably got maybe 2 or 3 takes that you can give. So make them different. Be confident in the decisions you make for each take, and then forget about it because they're going to listen to a whole load of takes. And if it isn't you, it's nothing personal. They just they either know what they want or they'll know when they hear it. And
Mhm.
so you can't, you just got to send it out and forget about it, which you kind of got to do a lot with auditions is just send them out, hope for the best. You've done the job, as Michael Keaton would say. That's the job. So yeah, but and what was the other one? So there was and yeah, what was the third one you said?
It was commercials, TV shows, video
Oh,
games.
TV shows. I mean, with TV shows, typically that's self-taping to camera, and then you just got to. That's TV acting, and I've done a bit of it, but I haven't done a massive amount of it. So yeah, again, you've got to make some decisions and be confident in your character. And typically with TV acting, it's less is more. But it does depend on the style of show. If it's a kids' TV show or horror or something like that, you've got to embrace the genre. But it can be down to looks and the smallest facial expression. It's particularly if they say we don't worry about we just want a head and shoulder,
Mm.
then it's all about the face. They're looking at a close cut scene, and you've got to really just get across the important stuff in your face. But again, you do it and forget about it. It's the wonder of but that's the difficulty and the fun of acting and VO work is just the broad spectrum of work that you can possibly do. But don't, very rarely try and. There's nowhere to hide if you
Mhm.
say that you can do something when you can't. Um, I The one time that happened to me, I managed to tread water and get away with it, and do an all right job. But I said I'd done ADR, and I hadn't done that particular type of ADR before. There's different
Mhm.
types. And I just remember being there, and you got the director over there, a big cinema screen in front of you, your script there, your microphone, but also you've got to look at the performance. It's in another language, but you've got to try and match the mouth movements and end when they stop speaking. And you'll be, there's a visual cue to when to start to speak. So a thing goes like that. So you're looking at your script, the actors, the bit like that. And I was just like, okay, I've just got to do this. I've just got to do it and see where it goes. And it was fun once I got my head around it, but it's a lot to have going on in your head. You've just, yeah, don't say you can do things when you
Hmm.
can't.
I think we got through more of the serious, kind of in depth questions. I do have to royally apologize. I have to go to the washroom. So maybe we could break for
Okay.
5 or so and get into some fun questions and some
Yeah,
fan
sure.
questions and some Q&As after. Does that sound
Absolutely.
good?
Sounds good. That sounds good.
All right.
Everyone, tea
We'll
break.
short little tea break. I will see you guys in about 5 minutes, and thanks for your
Cool.
patience. I'll see you guys soon.
All right. Tip.
I'm a mind flayer, yes. And the one who saved you, again. If the Githyanki ever find out what she has done, there will be civil war. Blacketh will be finished. Finally. What are you doing? Good. On the other side, you'll find a passageway, known only to those invited to do business. I was absent for 1 moment. What I didn't anticipate was how exhausting you would be. I have been your salvation from the very beginning. In my name. You saw for yourself what the Chosen are capable of. Is this not the outcome your queen wanted, Lae'zel? A reward will be yours for the taking. But a word of caution. Once we cross into the Elder Brain's domain, there will be no turning back. You have embraced transformation so far, but this would be a complete evolution. There is nothing further I can do for you right now. Consider using my gift. Put simply, yes. And being alive even more so. I am glad you were able to learn something. You must be joking. Look around you. We are at war. I strongly suggest that you reconsider this course of action. He sought to cure me of my sickness, called on every healer he could find, nearly broke his spirit in the attempt. Good. I am glad. I will consume his thoughts, his knowledge, his brain. And should our paths ever cross again, I will be glad to see you. At least, when she was alive. I'm haunted by memories. They are relentless. I can think of nothing. No one else. I could say the same of you. Is this really something you would be willing to accept? People referred to me as the Emperor. Such was my influence. Though of course, they had no idea what I really was. Have I ever told you how much I enjoy you? Lead the way. Remember, only an illithid can...
All right, and thanks for the patience, everybody. I appreciate it a lot. We have returned to friend Scott Joseph. Thanks for the patience, everybody. Got to learn quite a lot in the first little half there, so I appreciate the knowledge, and also appreciate learning a little bit more and getting some in-depth looks. But you gotta have some fun questions too prepared, right? um, if you could voice any of the main party members, do you have someone that you would want to voice?
um, hmm. I mean, it's tough because, I certainly wouldn't want to. I certainly, there's no way on this planet that I could ever do a better job than the guys did. I think I like wizards.
Mm.
So Gale would be fun. Um, um, oh, yeah. And yeah, I mean, they're also different and rich that you kind of want to have a go at all of them, just to see, have some fun with them. Um, But yeah, I'll say Gale. I think.
Someone said that they could see you as Gale for sure. So,
Oh wow.
um, fan artists, if you want to go nuts with the Emperor
No.
and Gale,
Well,
that could be pretty cool. um,
but Tim is Gale,
yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
he is. There's no getting around that. He is Gale,
Yeah.
and he does a spectacular job as Gale.
I was very very it was very cool to see how Tim did with Gale. He had a lot of fun with the character, you could tell, and I imagine there was a lot of stories with that.
Yeah.
Um, it's very telling when not just like one person is fit for the role, but like everybody is nailed in their role, and it just lines up so well. And
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite things to see, because in the Raphael interview, or sorry, the George Taylor interview, Roland, he said that apparently he auditioned for Raphael, and
Oh wow.
yeah, so it came. They both had different setups for how Raphael could have been. Um, I believe
Right.
George was told something along the lines of Alan Rickman, and to kind of roll from there. And
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, so Raphael could have been extremely different in
I
comparison
think that's the
to what
beauty
we
of that
got.
character.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the beauty of that character is it can. There's no one set way of doing such a deliciously evil character. Um, but then after the fact, uh, Andrew, you can't envisage it any other way now, having seen Andrew in kind of put on that mantle of Raphael. It is him, and he is it.
learning that that was Andrew's first professional singing adventures for the song blew my mind, and it will always continue to blow my mind.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know if everyone at home has seen, but there is a concert
yeah,
for Baldur's Gate 3 done recently, and Andrew and Maria were both there, the ones that were the two voices in the song, and it was absolutely um, brilliant to see it just come together live. And with a 100-man orchestra, I knew it was going to sound amazing, and then it happened, and I really wish there would be a worldwide tour for it, but I would love to
yeah. It would
attend.
be something. Yeah, definitely.
Um, we kind of talked a little bit about this earlier, but to kind of throw a two and one together, how was your time on Streamily? Because I know that there was a an overflow that happened, and a second one occurred. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you kind of space out there's the opening the shop for live signing and stuff. I mean, um, there's I love the love for the emperor that is out there, and long may it endure. Um, but yeah, you kind of test the waters, and I'm terribly English about it. Well, who's going to want to ask to sign stuff, and and so I leave it for a bit, and then I might test the water. Oh, do you reckon? Should we do it now? But yeah, I opened it recently again, and we got some orders in from some lovely people, and some of them started sending video messages, which I didn't know that they could do, and that was absolutely lovely.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's always really great, which is something on the Streamly signings. You kind of you read them in chat, but you can't really see them in person. So it's difficult, and I kind of want to make it a good experience, but I don't know how. I'm not like this is the first time I've done anything like this, so I'm very conscious. I'm also really, really bad at multitasking. So I consider breathing and speaking to be multitasking. So anything else, my brain's like going. So when I do it in here, I'll have a print here and I have my pen, but I'll have to stop speaking to chat to concentrate
To
on signing
focus
because
on.
I can't really. And chat, the guys that join us, the signings are just wonderful, and we have a great time. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with them, so I got a couple of guests on, Neil Roberts and Glenn McCready, both
Yes.
actors in Baldur's Gate. Yeah, and it was
Zevlor
fairly
and
chaotic.
Zevlor, he
And
voices,
the Dark Urge,
yeah, Dark Urge and
and
Zevlor.
and Glenn McCready was also
Oh,
Omelum as
Melon, yeah.
well. And yeah, and it was pretty chaotic, but it was great chaos. It was good fun, but invariably I didn't really get through a lot of the signing that I meant to. So I had another spillover session where I finished off signing the stuff, and I do love doing it, but sometimes it can get, you really have to think about this stuff because one of the orders was, okay, yeah, do it out to so and so, and but also if you could write a pop song for with the emperor, if they were to if he was to sing a pop song, if you could write a pop song, that'd be really great. Write a pop song. So I had to kind of, and I should have looked at it. I don't know why I didn't read it beforehand. I thought I did, but I didn't. I didn't notice write a pop song. So I had to, in the session, come up with the. I wrote one verse and a chorus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't sing it though.
Is that
Yeah.
extra or?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Because now I have an idea.
Yeah, well, because improv writing and singing in the style of the Emperor, a pop song. I mean,
That's a
that's
lot.
beyond multitasking. So yeah, so I wrote the lyrics, and I heard that. I think, I don't know whether they're serious, but they're gonna commission it to be made into a song. So I don't know whether that will happen, but we'll see. Yeah, but they're
Um,
fun. The streaming sessions are always fun, and it's a chance to reach out to the community who are so talented and supportive, and it's the least I can do to make contact with them and have some fun.
I would kill to do an interview with Glenn and Neil because that just sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like an
Yeah,
absolute blast.
yeah. Like I said, yeah, it was fairly chaotic. It wasn't probably my most productive Streamily signing session, but
But
yeah,
it's
it was great.
fun.
I love them. Yeah, they're just great guys. They're just really good. And I just let them run with it, and it was fun.
Sort of in the same realm of topic. Do you have convention appearance plans or wants? Would you like to?
So, yeah, I might have some news on the convention front coming up. I have done some in the past. I'm not a massive amount, but if I'm invited and I can get there, I'll absolutely go. It's just these conventions can be massive or quite intimate affairs, and
Hmm.
so it's really whatever is in demand at the time, and if they want you, they'll ask. But I've got something coming up, hopefully, in a little over a month. I guess people
It's
can
very
maybe find
exciting
out what that
news.
might be. But we'll see. Yes, that should be really fun. I can't announce it yet because it hasn't been signed off, but it's virtually been signed off. So
Pay close attention to the Twitter, folks, because I imagine it's going
yeah,
to be there. Um,
absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah,
just a
that'll be fun.
just a reminder for everybody that is here. A good way if you want to see someone in specific at a convention and you know that a convention is coming up in like 4 to 6 months, that's when they start to reach out to people. Absolutely make a suggestion, because they reach out and that's how the ball gets rolling. If there's a demand, if there's requests, that's how it all starts. Usually starts with fan requests. So, you know of a convention, reach out, find your favorite person. I did that recently. I wanted to see Andrew Wincott myself, and there's a convention coming
Excellent.
up soon. Maggie Robertson is going to be there, or in the red, and I was like, oh, two of my favorite villains right side by side would be awesome. So yeah, heavily stressed to toss suggestions to find your favorite people, and it might happen.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how the ball gets rolling.
absolutely. Especially
Yeah,
if you add the hashtags and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
You never know. You never know. Um,
But
and
the conventions are pretty special. I'd never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would be able to be part of a convention, a Comic Con or anything like that. Um, but just being able to see fans face to face
mm,
and chat about their experiences and hear about what they how they found the game and the characters, and sometimes even what it's meant for them in their lives,
yeah,
and to talk about that, that's really humbling. That's really something I didn't expect, and I'm very privileged to be a part of. So I don't take that for granted, being able to meet guys face to face. So yeah, that's always special.
that's yeah, that's one of the more intimate interactions that you're able to have, because it goes from
Yeah,
a um, uh, person who's playing connect with the person who's through a screen, and then um, it goes beyond that, and then when it comes down to
yeah,
face-to-face convention interaction or what have you, then um, that it just expands and
yeah,
something that you
yeah,
just can't
definitely.
even really describe.
And you just get really kind of moving moments when like I mean, these guys come from all over the world,
Yeah.
and some guys, artists, had all worked together, and one of them had printed out all their artworks for the Emperor on this A3 sheet, and a stunning art. And then one of them brought it to the convention, and said, "Do you mind if I give you this?" I was like, "No, I don't mind, and thank you very much. This is amazing." So yeah, and I literally had to. Fortunately, they put all of their socials on each of their art pieces, so I was able to thank each of them
Mm,
on the socials and stuff, and it was just wonderful to see that. And the creativity in the community is just staggering. It
mm,
really is. Um, and to know
adorable.
that, yeah, but just you just appreciate the wealth of talent that's out there in the world, and to know that the game has kind of kindled that talent, or further kindled it, and helped create some really just stunning artwork is fantastic.
Hmm. With the fans in mind, would you like to take a couple of fan questions that were sent to me throughout the week and drift
It would
into?
be rude not to.
Then from there, we can drift into questions that folks who have been watching here throughout the
Wanna?
last
Yeah,
little bit.
absolutely.
Um, the first one that was presented to me, we have to go onto the other side that we've been discussing so far. I was told to take a look at a certain Twitter post from Larian, um, to
This isn't involving a
get
certain degree of cookies.
it had something to do with that. Oh, you know already. I had not known, because I'm out of the house at 6 in the morning for work, and I get home about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'm already ready for bed, basically. So I was told
Okay.
to get knowledge on these Oreos, because there was a post by Larian, senior
I
cinematic
I love
artist.
Larian. Yeah, I love Larian. I love how they just it's like a little effervescent tablet that they plop out into the socials, and they know it's just gonna fizz away. And yeah, they plot this. One of the animators said that scene with the tentacles and how they got the the footage to animate it was I mean, whether it's true or not, I guess it is. But yeah, it's from one of them having a packet of Oreos and doing that
Are you a fan of
with it.
golden Oreos?
Do you know what? This is the first. Yeah, I didn't even know they came as golden Oreos. So
Really?
I keep meaning to open this packet and use it, but then I do streamily things, and then I do interviews and stuff, and I kind of like that they're my corner, my MP corner is kind of just burgeoning here. With again, with like little. This was made by a fan,
That is cool.
a little emperor
Oh, that is
crocheted,
so cool.
and so they come with me, and there's a little emperor plushie there as well, and I look after, I treasure. These are my treasures. But the Oreos, yeah, I mean it was funny, and I'm so glad because I miss so much on socials. I'm really not adept at following socials, but I caught that and I was just I cannot let this go. So I leapt on it and God bless the community because they did too. And it was wonderful. It was, and I think even Larian replied. So it's fun. It's great that you can have those kind of comedic moments about it, and and then that spawns art. A whole wealth of art involving these wonderful cookies and the emperor and stuff, and it's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
Can we make MP Corner like the official name? Like, is that possible? Can we make that happen? Because I love
MP
that.
corner,
The MP Corner.
MP
Yeah,
corner.
I love that.
Yes, come and relax in MP corner. Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Official.
It is. Yeah, it's there. It's right there. Kind of.
Um, with the topic of things to consume, would the Emperor eat ice cream? If so, what flavor? And to add on to that, do you think the Elder Brain would get brain freeze?
Absolutely, they would. But they'd have to have. Oh my goodness, they'd have to have such a big Slurpee or slushy or whatever. But slushies are a criminal for giving you brain freeze. I used to have them as a kid, and you get carried away with it initially. Oh my god, I shouldn't have swallowed that, and it doesn't hit immediately. That's the beauty and the horrificness of
Delayed.
brain freeze. It's the delay. It's the fact that you've just taken too much cold stuff and it's sliding past arterial blood going to your brain.
It tricks
And
you to
it's
think like, hey, I can take another sip, right?
yeah, I could take another sip because it's not happening. And then all of a sudden it starts and it's still going past you like, "Ah,"
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a horrific, but I think it's a rite of passage. Having brain freeze. I've completely forgotten the question, but yeah, oh yeah, the ice cream.
Yeah.
But it would have to be vanilla and garlic, wouldn't it? Because that's like the scent of the emperor, isn't it? Apparently. I think there are even vanilla and garlic candles and scented candles and stuff.
Is there?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I guess it would have to be vanilla and garlic. I probably wouldn't
I
go
probably
out
wouldn't go that route,
and
but
buy that straight away. Yeah, that wouldn't be first on my. But if the Oreos and cream ice cream had been sold out, I might go for for the
or maybe it'll
vanilla
have
and garlic.
the Oreos with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe
Oh my
it
God. You're
counterbalances the
getting
garlic.
complex now. Yeah.
Yeah, gonna mix up the
Okay.
flavors
Yeah.
and
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You're going a bit crazy there with the flavors. All right. Yeah, I mean, if you got a cold, garlic's fantastic for a cold. So I guess it's a health kick as well. You're getting the ice cream, you're getting a bit of no ice cream and garlic, horrific.
you'd have to use the tentacles though, right? Or not a spoon,
Um,
no eating utensil, maybe with the tentacles.
well, I mean, just do and it floats in. Do you know what I
Ah,
mean? You don't need to worry about that.
yeah,
You
don't
don't
need
need
to
to get the
worry.
tentacles dirty.
Yeah, yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Perfect.
go. Yeah, I've clearly given this far too much thought. Yeah,
Listen, if you have to, if you have the question, you might as well just go all out with it, right?
yeah.
You might as well unpack everything that's in front of you.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if the Emperor has brain freeze, they could always take their mind somewhere else to get away from it. But yeah, who knows? Does an Emperor have slushy brain freeze? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's something we should find out.
Extremely, we need the Emperor holding a slushy now. Be an awesome print.
Crying tears. Yeah, it's a good one. Brain freeze Emperor.
um, Another question that I was asked.
Yes.
This person said the Emperor is a fascinating character, a fusion of science fiction and fantasy that comes together very powerfully. What were some of the challenges in playing the role of such alien intelligence? Did you face any of that?
Yeah, I think the main challenge was riding that knife edge of I mean, I think they've been linked to the Emperor's been linked to like being a politician, in that they don't necessarily lie, although in politics at the moment, I think lying seems to be par for the course. But they don't necessarily lie. They just don't tell you the whole truth.
The white line?
Um, well, yeah, I guess it's the kind of if you're if you want to team up with someone or you want to get something done, but you know that if you tell them everything it entails, like for example, I've got a good idea. If I want to get my kids to tidy their rooms, I don't go, listen, kids, I want you to go upstairs. I want you to dust all the surfaces. I want you to spray polish, bring it up into the polish. You got to clean the mirrors. You got to put your toys away into each of the blah 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 blah. Because they're not going to do it. They're not going to tidy their rooms. But if I just say, look, kids, if you want your pocket money, go and tidy your room, they might well do it because it sounds simple. So I think in terms of the Emperor, there's a lot of reasons why why he treads that knife edge. It's for the player to decide what those reasons are. But I would say, given what the Emperor looks like, he's already starting at a disadvantage.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's already, and he knows that. So that's playing on his mind a little bit.
Yeah, we don't have really
Anyone
good
would want to kill
experience with
me.
mind flayers, yeah.
Yeah, anyone would want to kill me. So I think he's doing a very careful dance, and it's very shades of grey. And that was the most trickiest thing is keeping that kind of still guardedness, but making the character interesting enough for people to want to listen to them, to engage with them, even to side with them as part of their quest or bring them onto their quest. And that was something that we talked about with the director, with Larry, and I think they were of the same mind. Yeah, we want to play that on that very narrow path. So that was very difficult to find. And that's when I really relished moments of emotion, of vulnerability, of affection, and because it gives more to the character than perhaps just this guarded figure. Yeah. And I definitely wanted the Emperor to seem likable in some regard, because if they're not, why would you side with them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was funny actually watching some of the early streams of the encounter with the Emperor. because people's reactions were just perfect. That kind of, oh,
Hmm.
it, what do I do? Why didn't I save it? Why didn't I save it? It's just kind of like, oh my God. And just what the Emperor is potentially offering and stuff like that. And it's a big decision in the game and it's weighty. And I
That's what the
loved,
team wanted, I think, was those
yeah.
reactions. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Absolutely. So I'm really glad that that landed. Yeah, or seemed to land.
If you would guess, if the Emperor had a musical score like Raphael, what do you think it would lean towards? I immediately go to the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh,
Yeah.
oh God, yeah, because I love musical scores, not just for musicals, but for films and stuff.
Hmm.
I listen to a lot of films, or used to listen to a lot of film scores. So that's a tough one.
Interstellar.
I think if I had to, well, I think if I had to rely on a composer,
Hmm.
it would probably either be Jerry Goldsmith or John Williams
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
nail to be absolutely sure that
Yeah.
it could be nailed, because you know that, like John Williams with Darth Vader, do you know, I mean, wholly evil theme tune that then got woven into this softer thing when he discovers who he is and all that kind of and just the art to be able to do that with music, I think is just stunning. And composers that can do that, and there are lots out there that can do it, but I've listened to a lot of their stuff, so I think rather than say uh a score that would represent the Emperor, I mean, we did do an Emperor soundtrack. Well, I
Oh,
say we, basically, it went round. I don't know where it came out of, but some of the Origin cast were doing these kind of soundtracks on Spotify of what their character might either listen to or be tracks that were inspired from their character, or their, whatever, all kind of things around that. And so I put together what the Emperor might listen to, or songs inspired by, or songs that made me think of the Emperor, or stuff like that. So yeah, if you check that out on, I think it is on Spotify. There's some fun in there. There's some tongue in cheek stuff. There's some really cracking tracks on it as well. But yeah, hopefully that kind of answered the question. I think I skirted around it a little bit, but I'd get John Williams to do it.
that's a good one. How
Yeah,
can you not?
and I'm
Uh,
sure he would. He's not busy, is he?
he's got a Saturday, Sunday evening free at
Yeah.
about right about now, actually.
Well, I mean, who knows? Do you know? It's crazy. They could make a movie,
Yeah, give him a
and then,
weekend and
but no, but I mean, they could make a movie if they could. A movie could be made of this game, and
give him a
suddenly
theme.
the
And
Emperor has his own theme tune, and we're like,
yes,
that's what it is. Um, that would
thank
be
you.
amazing. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
um, for folks who wanted to ask questions, feel free to fire away. I do see one right here, and we'll kind of just roll from there. If I miss your question, it might happen. Feel free to throw it out again, and I will definitely take a peek at it. So the first one that I see right here is the Emperor's eyes and face are very expressive. Eyebrows mostly, and
Yeah, because they're very prominent, aren't
yeah.
they? Yeah.
Is that something that was motion captured, or is that manually animated?
That would be manually animated.
Oh,
They
wow.
didn't do we didn't do facial capture
Hmm.
for this. We did performance capture, so the whole body and the hands, because I think often they needed to cast spells and grip things and stuff like that, and that can be really fiddly, I think, to hand animate. But facial expressions and stuff like that would be done. I believe, I'm not massively across this. Um, So I'm happy to be corrected, but I certainly wasn't facial captured for my part as the Emperor.
Hmm. So you didn't have to wear the crown or whatever it is in the
Yeah,
hair
with the no,
with like the
no,
camera in front of your face or whatnot.
no, no.
Yeah, that would make sense then. Makes sense for sure. That's a good question actually. It's good to know that it was not really half and half, but two parts to it.
I mean, I do think I do think the performance of the actors, because it's filmed, it's not just animated, into the software. It's also filmed.
Yeah.
So I guess they can see what you're doing with your face, so that might help inform them a little bit as to what to do in terms of facial expressions.
Hmm. Kind of get
So I
some
don't doubt
inspiration.
that did. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, it's good to know. It feels different, but it's good to know that um that's how it came to be. But yeah, the eyebrows, like
yeah,
you mentioned, were very prominent and very
yeah.
forward.
Yes, I mean, I think that's because you're losing a lot in terms of the lower part of the face, the eyes and the eyebrows. You're then massively drawn to,
Hmm.
and those eyes are so stunning as well.
They're
They're really piercing.
they're
Um,
deep, and
there's nowhere to hide.
you can always be seen unless Raphael flips the switch, and
Oh yeah.
what a character.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, someone said the Emperor is very, very expressive. It's amazing to see. The eyes are endearing. It's very endearing to see the eyes squint as if he's smiling the few times it happens. Yeah, yeah. I do remember a lot of those scenes, and there's a lot of there's a lot of life, even if the head isn't moving too much. There's a lot of life that's still, um, again, expressive. Um,
I'm glad that came through because I was really worried that it's such a you're so constrained in the role because there's not much in terms of gesticulation with your hands and stuff like that. So you can't. It's hard to I would come out of sessions in quite a lot of kind of aches in my body because I'm literally being constrained to not move and to keep that guarded physicality and stuff that I'm very gesture driven as you can see. So when I say the lines, it's hard to not suddenly start gesturing or to look over there. When someone asks you a question, you naturally look off to think, but you can't do that. You have to kind of like that and then come back. And so I was really worried, that whether that would convey. And I invariably, when you want a slight bit of warmth, or if you're reminiscing about a fond memory, you do smile.
yep.
Physically, you smile because that warms your voice. Again, we're talking about the physicality of of your voice and what you're doing with your face. It warms the voice when you speak, when you smile. So, I think that helps inform the animators and when they do the facial expressions to try and echo that warmth in the eyes and the eyebrows. So yeah, but I'm glad that those subtle things came across because that's what we were going for. But it's you never know whether it's really going to hit with a character that's so far removed from being human.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Someone asked earlier, they wanted to know if you've done voiceovers for TV shows, series. They were just curious of other works, it seems.
Um, I would love to do animation. I haven't done too much animation, but it's on my to do list. If I can do it, but again, that is an art form in and of itself. I often listen to animations, principally kind of more aimed at a younger audience because I've got kids and they're watching these shows, Phineas and Ferb and all that kind of stuff, and I listen to the voice artists, and I'm just like, oh my god, they are really working,
Do you have
like really working.
Do you have an ideal series that you would like to do? Animation?
Not really. No, not really. I mean, I, they, there's definitely like if I'm going for a type of animation, then you need to have that in mind. So, obviously, if you're doing anime or something like that, that's a skill set. Phineas and Ferb and all that kind of stuff is done at a rate of knots. If you listen to them speak, it's like it's quick speaking. There's hardly any pauses. It's bang 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 all the way through, and really high energy. And I kind of like the freakiness of that. I kind of like the whoa, hold on tight. So I would like to do that. But in terms of what I have done, I mean, I've done like radio, and I do a lot of audio description, which is scripting and voicing TV and films for visually impaired people. So if you can't see the TV, then you'd wonder what the heck was happening when people aren't talking, when characters aren't talking. So my voice comes over and explains what's happening in those quiet moments. So I do that. But yeah, I mean, on TV work, I think we're talking about cartoons and animation, and I would love to get into that world, but it's not easy. I mean, neither is the gaming world. It's you have to be good at what you do. So the guys that do it at the moment are damn good. So if the right part comes up and I can get it, I will absolutely join that world because I love it.
Someone asked, have you played Baldur's Gate 3? If yes, is there a character you really like that's not biased for the Emperor?
I haven't. I've got the game. Not long after it came out, I set up. I realized, oh my gosh, I've got like about 3 hours. I can play some Baldur's Gate. Great. So I sat down, and 3 hours later, I just finished creating my character.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the character creation right there.
Wow. So that took a while. So I was a high elf druid. Ambitious because I have not done D&D. So I think I could be struggling in the early stages because they're quite complicated characters to master, I think. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I will get round to playing it eventually. And there have been requests to stream that, but I don't know. We'll see if I'm brave enough to do that. To inflict that on the internet.
If you need any assistance whatsoever on software, streaming setups, how to get that all together, I would be more than happy to help.
Bless you. Yes. Because I know I know absolutely nothing about this kind of stuff.
This is your second time on Discord now?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes. This is my second time.
So, yeah, if you need any assistance, I've set up Discord servers. I've done streaming in YouTube for about 6 years now. So I've made every mistake in the book.
Nice.
So I
know not nice that you've made every mistake, but nice that you'll come through it. Yes.
Nice to learn. Yeah. It seems like there's already requests for you streaming your playthrough. So I think it's a want.
Yeah. I've got to. Yeah. If Baldur's Gate 3 is still a thing in a few years' time, then great. If it's not, I'll just have to try and get another big part in something and then stream off that because my family's too young at the moment for me to commit the time, unfortunately. It's
Makes
just
sense.
Yeah, I'm spinning a lot of plates and any more analogies or
juggling too many balls.
Juggling too many rackets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't think Baldur's Gate is going anywhere anytime soon. Like patch 7 just came out. that was on PC. It hasn't come out on consoles yet, so patch 7 will be delivered to people on
Right.
consoles. Um, there's already been, what was it, in a day, 1 million mods that were created, like 1 million mods that were created in a day. Now, I took a look at some of the mod lists. Some of them were, no offense to mod creators, a lot of them were kind of entry, kind of basic mods. Once people really sit down and like spend a lot of time on these mods, who knows how far it's gonna go. There will be
Yeah.
full-on quests. There'll be dialogue and armor changes, and I can't imagine how far it's gonna go once people really sit down and crack the mod support that has been given. Um, but yeah, 1 million mods in a day is just astronomical to think about.
Insane, isn't it?
I don't think Baldur's Gate 3 is going anywhere anytime soon, and I think there's also plans for some more updates and patches here and there
Really?
sporadically.
Oh,
I do
wow.
believe so. I don't know how far that's going, but um, we know that patch 7 is set to come out on consoles um, relatively soon, I hope. So that more people can enjoy that.
Yeah.
Um, I mentioned to Andrew, Raphael, just the song itself. I said that's going to be a song that people are going to look at in 20, 25 years and go, yes, I absolutely remember that song. I love that song. That is the song of, that generation of the gaming world. I compared it to One Winged Angel, Final Fantasy VII, and that's 3 decades now. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah,
is that PS2? Is that PS2? Is it
PS1,
or PS1?
PS1.
PS1.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
will still talk about that to this day, and I think Raphael's final act is kind of the same thing, and
Yeah.
that's attached to Baldur's Gate. So yeah, Baldur's Gate is not going anywhere anytime soon. And if you go through it for your first time, even in a couple of years, and I'm sure there's going to be monumental support behind you in doing so.
I'll
So
be, hello, everyone. I'm 79 years old and I'm going to start playing Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, I was in the game, I think. Was I in the game? Yes, I was. Yeah, I'll probably be around that age when I do that.
that is that is a great way to blow me away. That is great.
Yeah, well, yeah, just my
Hilarious.
my ridiculous head. Yeah.
People are saying I would watch this stream. I would absolutely watch that. There you go. There you go. You have when you're 79,
Well,
79th birthday, you already have
yeah. I mean,
uh
pushing that right. Go to your party. Right, let's get going, guys. Let's get this stream started. The kids are out of the house. They're at the ninth birthday. We're going. Here we go. Let's do this. And then I'll be by that time. They'll have full on suits and camera that track around you and stuff like that. It'll be insane.
um what do you think the Emperor does in his free time when he's not busy traveling, working, talking to people inside their heads? Maybe when there's not an elder
Invading
brain
people's
around.
psyches. um, I mean, there's a serious answer to that. I think he retraces a lot of his past.
Hmm.
Is a serious, but I can't go into that because spoilers. Yeah, I think
Fair.
it does a lot of that. I think he spends a lot of time reminiscing, and then maybe goes to a spa, maybe gets a full tentacle massage.
Guess that's what
You know,
everyone should
cra-
do.
yeah, cracks open the Oreos and just opens a bottle of God. What would the Emperor drink? What is there in Faroon that the Emperor could drink? I mean, it's some fiddlehead soup and just yeah, t- just see what happens. Maybe go on a boat somewhere.
wine, Kraken rum, mead.
Mead! A flagon of your finest mead, stout yeoman of the bar.
Hmm.
Sorry. It's getting late here. I clearly haven't had enough coffee today, and now I'm getting a little bit kind of, this could go anywhere.
The late night hours are for the most fun and
Yes. Picture an Illithid going on a journey beyond sight and sound. Yes, he's left planet Earth. He's entered the astral prism. I don't know what I'm saying now. What are these words coming out of my mouth? Help me, Sam. You're my only hope.
me.
Yeah. Are we in trouble? We're in deep trouble.
I think we are. Yeah, the hypothetical silly questions have always been some of my favorites, so
Yeah.
glad you like to play along.
No, absolutely. Yeah, why
Great.
not? Yeah.
You had I don't know how much you could talk about this, but you had a certain romance scene in the game. How how did I guess how did that play out? Like how does this go through? What
I mean,
is there anything
I think a
special
lot
you
of
had to do?
no, not really. I mean, because that was mainly hand animated. Because a lot of it was with the tentacles, which I mean, I tried to grow some tentacles during the production, but it wasn't happening.
Golden Oreos, right?
No, yeah, it's golden. So golden Oreos all the way. So yeah, it was just the trickiest thing with me is like, okay, Scott, yeah, we're gonna need a sound from the Emperor to kind of arousal. What do you think an Emperor and a Lithid might do when it's aroused? I was like,
Well,
let me think. So what you hear if you get that achievement is the take that I gave. It was one take, and everyone went, "Yeah, I guess that works." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, good." I'm glad we don't have to do take after take because listening to some feedback notes on that would be hard.
yeah. Yeah, that would keep you up at night, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, in more ways than one.
Yes. Was that something that you had to be approached with and like give approval of?
Yeah, I mean they're always very attentive about stuff like that,
Yeah.
and you are pre-warned if there's going to be content, and are you okay with that? But you know that going in, it's not like you're surprised in the session.
Yeah.
So they obvious, and it's the right thing to do. And I think bringing it into the game added another level of believability and realism to a fantastical realm. We all know everyone goes on adventures and everyone has these battles and jokes around and they get drunk and they blow things up and they cast spells and stuff like that. But having relationships, that's a whole relatively new thing, but it just fleshes out the world so much more.
Yeah.
It complexes things as well, and people love that. It makes it so much more difficult. I just walked out of my camp. Oh, hang on, I did sleep with.
That makes sense.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like I didn't know that
Crap.
would happen, but that makes sense actually, and it's just brilliant. It's really well thought out. Has to be played right, has to be written right, but yeah, if you can get it right, that's just fantastic.
We talked a little bit before we went live. We were talking about choices in games should matter, whereas
Yeah.
disguising them as you have a choice, but you get railroaded to one end, like ending regardless. And some of that stuff is like Mass Effect and Dragon Age, where there's like relationship or friendship meter, or there's disapprovals. They carry from game to game. Back in the day, now it's all here's 150 gigabytes of patches. But decision making um, should matter in
Yeah,
something like this in an RPG, and
yeah, yeah.
there's
Cause and
consequences. You
consequence.
set
Yeah,
baggage from Act 1 to Act 2. Um, there could be none, there could be a lot, and it should
yeah,
ultimately affect your ending for how the character goes through. It should be you give a scene, you get narrated for it, and that's how you played your character. But yeah,
and it makes the game that much richer and that much more unique.
immersive.
The chances of trying to replicate a playthrough are really hard. So
Yeah.
it makes almost every single playthrough unique. Um, yeah,
Um, Someone said I have a question, but it's more about Marcus, so not the subject. But what was the
you can
scene you
ask Mike.
auditioned for with it? Is it okay to ask? Uh,
Yeah, I think it was the scene with Jahira.
oh,
Does that make sense, chat?
that's what you auditioned. That would make sense because yeah, there's a
Yeah,
time where they have an interaction
yeah. So it
very
was that
early.
scene. Yeah, it was that scene.
But sometimes that happens and sometimes that doesn't happen. It depends on your decisions in Act
I
1.
know exactly. That's why I can't really. That's why I can say
Yeah,
that happens, but I can't really say what happens in it because it depends on. Yeah.
depends on your choices in Act 1. Yeah.
Oh, minefield. Oh, minefield. Spoiler alert.
For your follow-up question, it would be that one. It seems like that person who asked knows what scene. So yeah, it would be that
Yeah.
one. It yeah.
Yeah, I think it was that. I don't. There might have been another one as well, but just to get a different emotional state. But yeah, it would. That's the one I remember.
Oh, that would be a lovely person to interview and talk with. Is Tracy? She's great.
She's absolutely wonderful.
She's has claimed that she's chronically online, so maybe I have to
Absolutely.
toss a tag her way
Yeah.
and see if she's interested.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely love that.
Yeah, she's a lovely person. Yeah, yeah. I saw her the other day. There might be another project. Yeah, she's so talented as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Really
and
nice person.
every panel that I've seen her on, she is absolutely hilarious too. Definitely the life of the party.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I've only met her a handful of times. So yeah, yeah. She's just fan. Yeah, I mean. Again, really lucked out with just the personality types in the game because everyone is a really great person. So it's
Hmm.
been fantastic whenever I see them in conventions and stuff to spend a bit more time with them or on live streams and stuff like that. It's great fun.
There's always been a time where I've wanted to um, folks who have attended before to have a return at some point. Would absolutely love to extend that to you as well, and possibly even get multiple um, whatchamacallit, multiple talents on at the same
Yeah, yeah.
time. So if that's something
Well,
that you would be
hopefully, if
interested
if I'm
in.
fortunate enough to get more work, there are a few in the pipeline. Thank goodness. But yeah, be I'm always happy to come and chat as long as people want to hear me ramble on.
I think
Um,
it's very safe to say that everyone is having a great time. I am as well, and
cool.
yeah, it
Good. Good.
would be lovely to have that in the future. Um,
Absolutely.
and again, I appreciate the time that you've come to spend, and everyone who's watching from all around the world. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out and asking questions, and
Yeah, yeah.
thanks for being a great audience. And it's definitely something to be appreciated. Um, there is a few final questions, if I may ask,
Of
before
course.
um, the one that I always like to finalize with is people who want to um, get into the industry. Would you have any tips or suggestions? Or I've never done anything whatsoever. I have no background in the industry at all. How would someone like me get into the industry? Ground zero.
Um, so practice, play with your voice. It's like if you said you wanted to play at Glastonbury. You wouldn't just step on the stage at Glastonbury having never picked up a guitar. So practice the guitar. Your voice is an instrument. The more
Yes.
you use it, the more you play with it, the more you practice with it, the more adept you get at using it, the more you appreciate its limitations, the more you appreciate how it can be manipulated in different ways. And your voice never stays the same. It changes in different environments, in different physicalities, in through time. It changes. My voice has steadily got deeper. Um, so I think partly because I've relaxed a little bit. I was obviously very tense. I listened to stuff I did like 15 years ago, and I'm like, good God, I was a tense person. Because when I very often if I'm doing I've done audio description for over 20 years.
Oh wow.
So um I've listened to my voice way back when, and I'm like, sometimes occasionally they do a reversion and they come back with the project and say, oh, can you voice these bits of the audio, and I have to try and make my voice sound like it did back then. And I can feel the tension in my. It's like I was so tense. I feel like I want to travel back and just give me a massage. Just relax a little bit, Scott. But yeah, so relax, practice, work out what you want to do first. Doesn't have to be I want to just do that, but work out if you want to start off in game. If it is games, then fair enough. Then work out, play with some characters, play with some scenarios, and then when you feel confident enough, record something. Um, Make contacts and connections that you trust, not
Mm.
family members per se, unless you know a family member can give you an honest opinion without wanting family members don't want to hurt you, so yeah, that's really good.
Someone without a
But is
bias.
it good enough?
Yeah.
You want to know, is it good enough? So, and have a really thick skin for the feedback.
Yeah.
Take it on board, absorb it, push yourself, and you know, I would definitely say, treat an audition like a job, like you've got the job. The job is the audition, and have fun with that job,
Mm.
because then it takes the weight off. I need to get this part, and puts the fun, and that's when you kind of open the creativity. Um, I mean, there's so much, and I think we're really lucky in a certain regard in this day and age, in that you can go online and watch and get reference material and training material, and listen to people talk about what is needed, and industry professionals and training professionals, what is needed to get into this sector. So tap into all that as well. Be hungry.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean,
Appreciate the answer.
I could go on and on and on, but I think play, practice, and then just put your stuff out there, and build up a demo, build up voices that you can do.
Mm.
There's loads of ways of getting work, in terms of auditions. There are sites, but principally you want to get an agent. You can approach studios direct, so find out what are the gaming what are the studios that games are using. Contact the studios, ask them. So if they don't respond, just go to the next one, or just 3 months later, if you've got something different to send it along. You want to keep polite. You don't want to hassle, but you want to create these connections. It's a business. It's business.
Yeah.
There's the creative side, but there's also the business side, and you have to learn how to do both.
Yeah, they interconnect.
Yeah.
At pretty much every turn.
Yeah, unless you're really lucky and the work comes to you. But even so, there's still a business element to it.
Yeah. Scott, thank you for your time. If you guys haven't already, who's watching at home, there are a couple links at the top of chat. Feel free to toss a hello to Scott over on Twitter. There's also the website that is right there as well, and also Streamily. I'm sure more Streamily live streams would be awesome to see. So feel free to connect and reach out there. Would we be able to hear a farewell or a good night from the Emperor?
Oh, a farewell, a good night from the Emperor. Well, I guess I could say. Well, I've been doing loads of talking. Let me see if I can get my voice down there. Okay. Everyone listening out there, take heed of my voice. Relax. Make yourself a drink. Grab a packet of Oreos and relax. I will be with you soon. God, what did I just say? What did I just say? I don't know. I don't know.
It was perfect.
Well, I don't know. I think I've talked myself into a stupor. It's about 40 degrees in my booth now. I've got the ring light
Lord.
on, and yeah, I should have kept the door open.
Yeah, it is. It's also about 10:30 for you as well, and it's that hot. Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Don't want to keep you
England,
forever and
England's hotting up.
Yeah. Well,
But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
I should be thanking
like
you.
I said, wow. If I'm lucky enough to do some more stuff, then I'm more than happy to come on and chat.
Would absolutely be. It would absolutely be a pleasure to send an invitation again, whether it's one-on-one or whether we get a lovely opportunity of multiple talents at once.
Chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
If folks are up for some for some chaos for an evening, that would be lovely as well.
Absolutely.
Would be a lot of fun. It seems like a lot of people had fun at home. So again, thanks for being a great audience and hanging out with us tonight.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Definitely appreciate that a lot. And PC folks, enjoy patch 7. If you're on console, it's going to be coming in October, so very, very soon. Just cross your fingers, cross your tentacles, and hope for the best for a smooth patch 7 for you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You have yourself a great evening, and golden Oreos, vanilla garlic ice cream to cool down.
Sorry.
Thanks for the visual. That is 100% going to get clipped, and it is going to be living on Twitter for the next month at least. So, nice going.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What have I just created? Oh, damn. Yes, it will evolve on Twitter. I don't doubt. Or X. Oh God, I don't know. Whatever it's called.
That website that used to have a bird. Yeah, there's gonna be fan arts of that now. Maybe on a Streamily near us soon.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Have a great evening, and you take care. You sleep well, and we'll definitely stay in contact. And I'm very, very sure we'll see you again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Well, what a lovely lovely evening and opportunity that was. Again, thank you all so much for hanging out and stopping by. I do appreciate it. For those who have never been here before, welcome. I appreciate it a lot. If you want to see more Baldur's Gate 3 interviews, I do have a lot more over on my YouTube. You could see the likes of Andrew Wincott, Raphael. You could see Roland, George Taylor. You could see the lead vocalist, Maria. I can't pronounce her last name, unfortunately, but she sings Down by the River and Raphael's Final Act, for example. And we most recently just had one with Rena, who does the Hag. So if you're interested in those, you can see those on YouTube. And this is also going to be going on YouTube if you didn't catch all of it. Totally okay. I'm going to be working night and day to get it out on YouTube as soon as possible. For those who have been here before, welcome back. It's always a pleasure. And this time is usually set for news and discussions for future interviews. So you guys have definitely stuck around for one of the best parts. I've been in contact with Andrew Wincott back and forth. We've been trying to set up a second interview. We don't know when it's going to be exactly, unfortunately. We've been really trying hard to find a day. Unfortunately, I have a Monday to Friday job. He has conventions. There's a lot of time periods that it's taken us both away, but we are definitely still in contact and we're trying to get that set up together. Andrew's very nice. He sent me a happy birthday message, and I sent that in passing like 3 months ago, and he somehow remembered. So, what a lovely person he is. I do have plans on reaching out to Tracy as well. I know a lot of people love Jahira, and I do as well. Having Jahira on here would be absolutely fantastic. So that is definitely in plans as well. And if you have any suggestions as well, feel free to send them my way. I would love to use that as fueling the fire for a want and need for talents to come on for future interviews. I love doing these. I try to do these once a month. Will I reach out to Glenn, Zevlor, too? I really want to. I saw the Streamly event when it was Neil Roberts, Scott Jospeh, and Glenn as well. So I got to see a little bit about Glenn, and seems like a very fun person. I had an entire show written for Neil Roberts, and unfortunately, communication has kind of fallen through. But I would really like to talk to the Dirge as well. There's a lot of plans going forward. It would be a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you, Zori. I appreciate it. Ethan or Diana, the Dream Guardians, maybe that would be sweet. I have seen the Dream Guardians in interviews before. They seem like fantastic folks. I've seen them do streams. I've seen Ethan with George Taylor before, so I would absolutely love to do that. Great suggestions, by the way. Yeah, I think that's really about it. Unfortunately, not probably not the news that you wanted to hear about a future date, but I'm going to be shooting for another interview in October. So feel free to stay in contact with me. We're over on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. You can definitely see that on the socials there. There's Discord. Would love to have a chat with you guys about all things Baldur's Gate. Yeah, I think that's really about all rambling wise for me, but is everyone at TwitchCon, or let's see. Oh, a friend of mine, Darkest, is actually streaming Baldur's Gate right now. The title is Gale and I Putting the Romance Back in Necromancy. That sounds great. What about Dave Jones, Halsden? I actually reached out to Halsden's agent about 8 or 9 months ago, and they said they forwarded to Dave, but it doesn't seem like anything came about that, unfortunately. I might attempt again, because it seems like Dave is doing a lot of projects. But I have definitely reached out to Dave before, and I do think I will toss uh, another attempt their way, and that's a great suggestion too. I appreciate that a lot. That's a good suggestion. I would love to talk to Dave. Dave seems like a fantastic person to chat with. Um, yeah, let's go say hi to my friend Darkest. She's a pretty cool person. Playing some Baldur's Gate, so it seems fitting. And I will definitely see you guys on the next interview. And if not, then I will see you on YouTube for the entirety of this one. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care, folks. Have a good night.